Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jesse, and welcome to my wrestling show. This is the show where we're going to talk about wrestling, college wrestling, high school wrestling, Olympic wrestling, freestyle wrestling, folk style wrestling, all things wrestling. I want this channel and this show to grow into a channel that can compete with the big wrestling media outlets. We only have two wrestling media outlets really in the wrestling world, and I think that needs to change. I think there needs to be more. So subscribe, like, comment. Let's build a community around the sport that we love. I want to go over some lineup previews, and this time I want to talk about the Oklahoma State Cowboys. How good can they be? How many All-Americans can they get? What's their ceiling? What's their floor? So let's dive in. Um, Here's the thing. AJ Ferrari, it stinks he's no longer on the team. What a talent he was. Obviously, a big loss for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. But remember, this is Oklahoma State. They have the most national championships of every team, uh, coached by John Smith, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. They're going to be good. The question is how good. The standard at Oklahoma State is national championships and team trophies. So let's take a look at the lineup. 125, Trevor Mastrogiovanni. Really solid wrestler. Um, could continue to get better from year one to year two. Um, Dayton Fix, he's a known commodity. You kind of know what you're going to get with him. Uh, 141, Carter Young. Very interesting um, coming into year two after year one. Year one as a true freshman, took some lumps here and there, grew a lot. They tend to sometimes make a really big jump going into that second year in the room. That'll be something to keep an eye out for. 149, Victor Voinovich, great talent coming out of high school. You don't know very much about him. He had one loss last year to Josh Feinsilver, um, and the rest were wins, but he doesn't have a marquee win yet in college. And so there's a little bit of an unknown there, but a lot of potential. 157, Caden G. Feller, really tough wrestler. We'll see if going up in weight class helps him out this year to get a few extra wins. Wyatt Sheets, returning All-American, uh, coming back again for another year. Hopefully he stays healthy. I know he struggled with injuries in the past. Um, get him healthy, see what he can do with some extra weight. Dustin Plott, again, freshman year, solid, huge jumps going to a sophomore year. Can he continue that growth into his third year on the mat and keep getting better? 184, Travis Wickley, bumping up two weight classes. Uh, I think he's just going to be just fine. I don't think the weight's probably going to affect his results at all. Tough way to end the season last year. Didn't end up going to the national tournament. Um, Obviously, I don't think that's any indication of the wrestler he is. Really, really good. Going to be competing to be an All-American and wrestling for the top spots on the podium. 197, 285. A couple holes here, we'll say. Luke Serber is tough. National qualifier type guy. Going down in weight class this year from 285 to 197. So it'll be interesting to see if bumping down can get him better results. And then a little bit of an unknown at heavyweight with some opportunity to prove yourself out here for Connor Doucette. So let's take a look at the rankings for each guy. So 125 pounds, you have Mastro Giovanni ranked at number 9. That is probably right where he should be. He had lost to Killian last year, maybe two. I think he did lose to Brandon from Oregon State last year. This is right where he belongs, and his floor, honestly, my view of him, his floor is 9. I don't think he loses to these guys below him. Really, any of them. I'm looking through these names. I think he beats Matt Ramos 9 times out of 10. I think he beats Malik Heinzelman, Noah Certain. These guys are tough. Um, but I just think Trevor Mastro Giovanni going into his third year, he's going to take another step, get better. And I think he can wrestle with these guys. Is he going to be able to catch Spencer Lee, Patrick Glory? Maybe not, but I think he could get as high as 4 or 5 and as low as 9. So you feel, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, you feel pretty good he's going to end up on the podium at the end of the year looking at these rankings right here. So lots of room to improve there. 133, not much to say here really. Dayton Fix, we'll say the one caveat this year, the one new wrinkle is Vito Arujá. If Vito doesn't bump up, you probably just get another rematch of Roman Bravo Young and Dayton Fix in the finals. Personally, I would say that's going to continue. I think it'll be Roman Bravo Young and Dayton Fix, even though Vito has bumped up. Right? The big question with Dayton Fix is, can he get over a hump? Can he secure a takedown on Roman Bravo Young and get that national title? Rooting for the guy. I hope he can pull it out. A few years of coming up second, even in the World Championships, getting silver. I'm ready to see him kind of get that gold and be on top of the podium. So excited to see what he can do. 141, Carter Young. So if you look at last year's results only, you might think, okay, he's a tough wrestler, but you don't really expect him to All-American. And based off last year's results, that's true. But this is the important data point for Carter Young. Last year, he was a true freshman right out of high school. Okay? It's very difficult. I don't care if you're the number one ranked guy in the country. That jump from high school to college is so difficult. We typically only see 1, 2, maybe 3 true freshmen AA at the national tournament every year. I mean, last year you had Dean Hamidi and CJ Composto. There may be one other. Those are the only 2 I can think of off the top of my head. And so it's so tough, but they get so much better from year 1 to 2. And so I honestly don't put too much stock in the last year's results because he's going to keep getting better. He's going to take another jump. Maybe he can put himself in this fighting range to maybe get that one of the low podium spots. So you're talking about a ceiling for Carter Young. Ceiling, it's probably a 7-8, squeaking in to the squeaking in the blood round, kind of squeaking into those bottom 2 All-American spots. With the floor, round to 16. I feel like he is going to get better. He has more experience. And this weight class up top, I mean, there's so much. There's no heavy hitters like surefire top dogs. And so there's some room to get up here and, wrestle with a Jake Berglund, CJ Composto, Andrew Alirez. And so if he can get better and take that next step, I think the sky's the limit in this weight class for Carter Young. Going on to 149. So Victor Voinovich, right, is ranked right here at 18. I'm not sure how they got that ranking. They probably just kind of guessed a little bit because he doesn't really have that many results over high quality guys. Again, he has that loss to Josh Feinsilver from Duke last year, who's a good wrestler. I think Josh lost in the blood round. But it was a fairly convincing loss. I think Josh beat him 7-0. And so let's just take a look at Intermat real quick on Victor Voinovich here. Not Intermat, WrestleStat. Yeah, no huge marquee wins here other than this loss. Yeah, you don't even have a qualifier win. So he's a little bit of an unknown, I'd say, Victor Voinovich here at 18. But true freshman last year, going into a redshirt freshman, they take big jumps. So I wouldn't put too much stock even into this loss to Josh Feinsilver. They take their lumps their freshman year sometimes, and that's just the way it goes. So 18 is probably about right. Ceiling, probably around a 16 guy, 13 to 16 is probably right. If you're betting, would be the most aggressive you'd get. I think he qualifies no problem, so the floor is probably 1 and 2 or something like that at the NCAA tournament. Um, and so, but again, you never know. Lots of potential there coming out of that true freshman year. 157, Caden G. Feller. Where do they got him ranked? They don't. How are we right here at number 10? That's probably about right. Going up in weight class, I'll be interested to see what his weight can do. And I'll tell you what, Caden G. Feller can not only All-American in this weight class, but he can All-American and be pretty dang high on the podium. You know, he can beat a Will Luan. He can wrestle with these guys up here. He's got to get a little bit better. Um, the one concerning thing, he lost twice to Max Murin last year. Um, and so I would look for him to take a little bit of a step. Maybe moving up in weight helps him take that next step. But Brayton Lee, Will Luan, Peyton Rubb, Ja'Cory Teamer aren't, they're not like a Yanni Diakomahales. They're not like a Roman Bravo Young or a Dayton Fix. I mean, they're really good, but they're not unbeatable. And so Caden can certainly All-American. He can wrestle up here with Ed Scott and Bryce Andonian and Jared Franick. So the ceiling for Caden G. Feller, I mean, I could see him placing fourth, placing fifth, a 4-5 range. The floor, round of 16. If he has a bad day, he probably loses in the round of 16. 2 times out of 10, he probably loses in the round of 16. 5 times out of 10, he probably loses in the blood round. 3 times out of 10, he's top 5. And maybe even more often than that, he's top 5. So you got a chance to get an All-American there. 165. Okay, here you have Wyatt Sheets, returning All-American. Now, he had a tough NCAA tournament, but he just kind of got unlucky with how the bracket broke down on the back. In his second match on the backside, he gets David Carr. It's just kind of bad luck that you're getting a national champ on the backside of the tournament. So 16, that's probably a fair ranking. I could see him going a little bit higher. He could wrestle with Justin McCoy. He could wrestle with Isaac from Northern Illinois and Austin Yant. He could wrestle with these guys. I think his ceiling is probably right around number 9. Right when you get to Peyton Hall, they start to get really, really good. Peyton Hall, Carson Karchla, Dean Hamidi. Yeah, these guys are really good. 165, such a gauntlet. I think it's going to be really tough for him to All-American again. But he could certainly finish in the blood round, right? And if the bracket breaks just right and he meets up with a Justin McCoy in the blood round, he could certainly get on that podium, right? I'm going to tell you right now, these top 8 guys are not going to All-American. It never works that way. Wouldn't be surprised if, Cameron Amin wrestles Carson Karchla in the blood round, right? Only one of them's going to AA. So there's certainly a shot there. 174, Dustin Plott. I'm very interested to see what he looks like this year. Again, he had his true freshman year, which, he was solid, but nothing groundbreaking, and take a huge jump into a sophomore year. So if he continue that growth, he's going to be really good. Fourth, obviously he beat Clay Lout last year in the tournament, which gives him this 4th spot. Looking at these rankings, I think Dustin Plott's floor is probably 6. He could probably lose to Clay Lout. He could probably lose to Ethan Smith. I don't really see him losing to anyone lower than that. Chris Foca's pretty tough, but he's very inconsistent in my opinion. I think Edmund Ruth's going to be trouble. He's probably ranked a little bit too low. So Dustin Plott, probably the floor of 6. The problem is his ceiling is probably 4. He could beat a Mikey Labriola. But Mikey Labriola has been so good for so long, I'd probably favor him. Um, and then it's just going to be tough to catch Makai Lewis and Carter Starocki. But if Dustin Plott takes that next step, keeps getting better, who's to say he can't come in here, beat a Michael Labriola, and maybe gives himself a chance against these top two guys? So a ceiling of number 3, floor of number 6. You feel really good. You're going to get an All-American there. 184, Travis Whitlake, um, bumping up 2 weight classes, ranked at number 16 right now. Um, I mean, they probably ranked him that low just because he didn't technically qualify for the national tournament, or didn't go to the national tournament, rather. I think that's probably a little too low. My perception of him is he's probably more like a number 6 or a number 7, honestly. I think he beats Matt Finesilver, Tate Samuelson, Abe Assad. Hunter Bolin's pretty tough. I think he beats Gavin Kane for sure. Keegan Moore, I think Travis Whitlake really should be. My perception of him is maybe number 5, honestly. Um, you have Aaron Brooks, Parker Ketkais, and Trent Hiley. They're kind of the top tier. Caleb Romero maybe on a tier of his own, and then you might even slide Travis Whitlake in that tier with Caleb Romero, or maybe his own third tier all by himself. I'll be interested to see what he looks like with 20 more pounds on him. Um, I'm sure he hit the weight room, bulked up just fine, and is probably feeling strong and healthy at this weight. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the weight. And I think he has a shot to be up here as an All-American at the 5 and 6 range. So a ceiling of probably 4, a floor, if he doesn't handle the weight well, maybe a floor of a blood round type guy. 197, Luke Serber. I don't know if they'll have him weight 22. Again, the question here is, how does he feel at the new weight class, bumping down? Does he feel quicker, faster, stronger at this new weight class? If he does, how does he do? The tough part about 197, it's a really, really deep weight class. You have a national finalist all the way down here at number 10. Cam Caffey's really good, although a little bit inconsistent. Isaac Trumbull's really tough. Jacob Cardenas is pretty tough. And so from 1 all the way to 20, 197 is a pretty deep weight class. So it's going to be tough for him to kind of break up into this bunch of guys. But the variable is the weight, right? How does he feel? What does he look like? For right now, I'm going to say his ceiling is probably 20, with a floor of maybe 25. But a lot of potential depending on how he deals with the weight. And then heavyweight, I'll just say he's not going to be ranked, but I'll just say, he is ranked right here at 33. Go out and prove yourself. Sky's the limit. You're the starter now. Go out and take the job, win some matches, surprise some folks. Nothing to lose, and go out, qualify for the national tournament. If you qualify for the tournament, you feel pretty good about what you get from Connor Doucette out of Oklahoma State. And if he gets a win or 2, then you feel awesome. So overall, right now, Oklahoma State is ranked number 11. But they have a lot of growth to go up, a lot of opportunity to go up. They could go up at 125, right? I said Trevor Mastrogiovanni, the floor is 9. Obviously, they go up at here. The floor is probably number 2 for Dayton Fix. They could go up at 141 with Carter Young. They could increase with, they could get some more points out of Victor Vornovich. Get some more points out of Caden G. Feller, because he was ranked in the blood round. I think he was 12 or 13, which isn't a lot of points at the national tournament. So all these points here, all these points they're getting at number 11, this is all Dayton Fix and Dustin Plott. That's all Dayton Fix and Dustin Plott. And so they have a lot of opportunity to get more points basically 8 out of 10 weight classes. You get more points out of Master Giovanni, you get more points out of Dayton Fix, maybe only 4 if he wins in the finals. You get more points out of Carter Young, you get points out of Victor Voinovich, Caden Gfeller, Wyatt Sheets. You could get more out of Dustin Plott. It might only be a pointer here. Travis Whitlake, you certainly feel like you can get some more points out of him. So Oklahoma State's floor is 11, right? Their floor is 11, and if Dayton Fix All-Americans, which he will, if Dustin Plott All-Americans, which he will, Travis Whitlake, you feel like he's going to All-American. Mastro Giovanni, all right, that's 4. If you get 4, you're probably top 6. If you get one more, you're a team trophy, right? And so it's not out of the realm of possibility that Oklahoma State could be in this top 4. Are they going to win a national title? Probably not. Penn State's really good. Iowa State has a lot of bullets. Iowa. Don't tell the Iowa fans I did that. They have a lot of bullets, but they could sneak in at a 4-3 spot and get a team trophy. So, a lot to cheer for if you're an Oklahoma State fan going into this year. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, let me know down in the comments ideas, teams you want me to cover in the future. I really do want this channel to grow so we can have a wrestling conversation and grow wrestling, and we can compete with these big media companies. There really needs to be more of a market where you can get your information about wrestling. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you next time.